Hello YouTube, Joe here on Memorial Day weekend. It is May 27th, 5 after 2 in the p.m. I've been away a while. It's been not doing much, besides work and stuff. Winter came and went, and didn't really do much as far as food plotting. Talk about what I did in the food plot video. But today I wanted to go over my little apple orchard that we started about maybe 6 years ago, something like that. Before we had the tractor. We were doing it by hand. And the reason why I thought apple trees would be a good idea was because there's not really much maintenance. Now, I'm going to get a shitload of people saying, oh, what are you talking about? You got to spray it, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to... all this shit. We don't farm apple trees for human consumption. I'm not selling them. I think in the 5 or 6 years that we've had them, I think I took a bite into one apple just to see if it was good. So again, getting back to the easy part, reason why I went with apple trees and a fruit tree was because this part of the country, in the Northeast, it's these kind of trees are cold tolerant. As long as you don't get a late frost in the spring, you should have a decent harvest every year, every other year, sometimes every 3 years, depending on... It's just like farming, it's just like doing a food plot. You might have a harvest, you might not. But once they're in, they're in. You don't have to go back every year and retill, and it's like a clover field. You got to mow it, you got to stay on top of it, you got to fertilize, you got to lime it, you got to spray it, broadleaf, grasses, none of that. So right now we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have 15 trees right now. Throughout the years, I've had to remove, I think it was one right where my tractor is right here. One there. 2, 3. I had to remove 3. Out of those 3, one of them was a transplant. It was a wild crab apple that I saw out underneath the power lines, and before the before the utility comes to spray, I saw them up a ways. On a whim, I said, let me try it. I dug it out. Sure enough, not even a year. I think once I pulled it up and the roots came off of the ball, I said, this shit ain't gonna work. But I already had the hole dug. I tried it, nothing. So here's a little tip for you guys. If you guys go to your nurseries or wherever you buy your trees or plants or whatever, stay away from Home Depot, Lowe's. Not because they don't have good trees. They have great trees, but they're overpriced, and you can't bargain with them. I think for 10 trees, I paid $150. Now, I didn't buy 10 trees this big. I bought 10 trees that were 5 feet. They came out to roughly $13 a tree or something like that. I went in October. By then, all your little weekend housewife gardeners, they're done. It's too cold for them. These nurseries have their trees sitting there. They want to get rid of them. They don't want to keep them. They want to get rid of them. Go there. If you guys are looking to do something like this, go there. Buy them then. Buy them in the winter. Buy them in October, November, December, January, February, March. April they should be in the ground already. So if you guys buy them in October, you can go ahead and plant them. If you guys tag out early in October on a bow, bow season, plant them in October. Nothing's going to happen because the tree's going to be dormant. If all the fruit fell. Usually in October, all the fruit is pretty much on the floor. I believe we bought these trees. I bought the 10 trees in October, and we actually planted them the weekend before gun season. The weekend before gun season in New York is in the middle of November. So we planted these trees in the middle of November. Most of them. You either want to plant before the frost comes or right after it. You don't want to plant like it's May. It's the end of May. You don't want to plant now. You want to have it in already. So I'll just take you through some of these trees here, and we'll start from the back. We'll start from here. So these are whips that my dad purchased. I'm not a huge fan of them because they take forever to kind of get going. They're good, there's nothing wrong with them. I just would prefer something a little bigger. So here's another whip. Now these have been here for about 3 years now. We'll go over some of the stuff that we have been closed. Here's another whip that we have. And here's the trees that I bought a few years ago. We'll just take a little walk around. Just beyond that's my clover, which I don't want to mow because every year there seems to be a fawn or a turkey or something nesting in this field. So it definitely 100% needs to be mowed. I'm sorry for the shaking. I'm unscrewing the video piece. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, some of these trees don't look that great, but this happens, like food plotting. So here's a tree that I planted. This tree happens to be a Lodi. Okay? Now, I'm no professional. I'll tell you right now, I'm no professional. We had acquired some of this fencing here. This was 6-foot fencing. It was about up to here. And what was happening in the winter, we were getting winds out of the north, and it was blowing and hitting the tree and hitting the tree and hitting the tree and causing the bark to get damaged. Once the tree got a little bigger, I was confident that the deer aren't going to be able to get to it, so I cut down the plastic here to about 3 feet, maybe a little more. A deer isn't going to, again, I'm no professional, and these are only my opinions. A deer isn't going to damage a tree by eating it. A deer is going to damage young fruit trees by rubbing it. That's what you want to avoid, rubbing. And I'll tell you the biggest culprit that we have. Here's another tree. I'm just going to take you through all of them. Last year there was a fawn inside these little tall. I'm not as fortunate as Don Mealy to run into fawns, but they're in here. They're in here. So here's another one that we have. Okay. Now, when we bought this tree, it might have been here. Maybe the top of the tree might have been there. So, you know, we have a decent tree. We have a decent tree, and I'm going to show you some of the damage that the fence caused. Like here, you know, rubbing. But the tree, you know, they're pretty hardy. They don't die right away. I'm not sure if this is another Lodi. I planted pretty much 3 or 4 different kinds. It was Lodi's, Honey Crisps, Jonah Golds, Red Delicious maybe. Those were the kind that I planted. And all different sizes. Only one standard size I got. Only one standard size tree. All of them are mixed up. Some of them are dwarf, some of them are semi-dwarf. So don't get too caught up with that. You know, it depends on how you prune it. A semi-dwarf tree is going to be fine. A dwarf is probably you know, okay too. I couldn't tell you what's what. But these trees, I didn't prune them this winter. They definitely need to be pruned a little bit. Well, there's another one. Here's one of my favorite ones. I don't know why. I'm always attracted to this tree here. Here's another tree that was very small when we got it. Okay, a lot of people are afraid to prune a little bit. If it's not the winter, they get nervous. I think that's total crap. I cut out one branch this afternoon that was in the middle. Here's another big, nice tree. They all have buds. So this is all going to be fruit. This is all going to be fruit here. And the way to tell if your trees have been messed up by frost is you pinch off one of these buds here. See this bud here? You're going to kill a potential apple, but this is what you do. See the round part here, right here? You split it. And if it's brown in there, it's dead. If it's green, like that, you're in good shape. So here's a nice tree. Crickets are in it. And like I remember when I planted this tree, the bottom of it was probably this big. And look at it now. That metal fence will save your tree's life. Probably more than the exterior fence. What that protects against, not even rabbits, voles. Voles are those ugly looking mice things that can girdle a tree overnight. We had one of these trees that I planted, I believe it was, I don't know where the hell it was, but it got it. One season it died. Here's another tree. Now this tree was a little late compared to the other ones. This one doesn't have any flowers on it. So this tree probably isn't going to have any fruit. Which is okay, because the tree is still growing. Again, I planted these trees, they were 5-footers. They were sold as 5-footers. And that was to the top of it. So I'm 5'7". My hand's up, and I got probably 1.5 feet on top. So we're looking at probably 8 feet. And they haven't been pruned. If I pruned them, if I stay on top of my pruning, they probably would be bigger. Here's another tree. I'll show you some of the damage that the fence caused. So like right here. That's from rubbing on the fence. Ooh, I got flies banging on my wrist. So a lot of people will probably say, get rid of this tree. Why? Well, you know, a good tip that someone gave me on young trees. Once they start making apples on a young tree, take the apples off, because the tree will focus on making the apples grow instead of the tree grow. So, and this tree definitely needs to be pruned a little bit better. It's growing too straight. You want someone described to me, you want your fruit trees, all fruit trees, to look like a crown. You know, like open this way. You know, like a bowl, shaped like a bowl, like out that way. So this is growing straight up. So probably this winter, I don't know, I'll probably cut this tall one off. Probably cut that back. Here's another one of my favorite trees. This thing, I planted it. It's like it's been on steroids. It just blew up big time. This is a tree. Nice big trunk on it. You know, when I planted it was probably about this big, the trunk, and now look. You know, we throw basic fertilizer down a few times a year in the spring, summer, and before the winter, just to give it a little boost. I don't know about diseases. I'm sure this tree has something on it. It doesn't look that great. This one did have some fence damage. What I did was I just, like I said before, I cut it down. This tree needs a good pruning. This tree's probably about 10 feet tall to the top, maybe 9 feet. Another one of my nice trees. again, if your food plots are a failure for whatever reason, and you have your apple trees going, you still win. Here's another good tree. Now this tree didn't grow so much in height, but it did grow as far as limbs. It did get bigger. See, like there's a little bug on it right here. It looks like a lightning bug. So I'm gonna get these guys off. Let's see. What does that say? That's a Jonah Gold. This is a Jonah Gold. Another good tree. Just needs some pruning. Just needs a little pruning. Another 9-footer. Grew about 4 feet probably. So, if I knew then what I knew now, I probably wouldn't have bought this tree. Here's why. Everyone, when you see a tree, you think, look at that trunk, how tall and nice it is. When you're talking about apple trees, you want it split somewhere. Like you want something like that tree. See the way it kind of comes off the main trunk, and then you have 3 main, I think they're called leaders. I don't know what they're called. That's what you want. Because you want the tree to spread. You know, like these. This tree, for some reason, when we planted it pin straight. But she wants to always kind of go down in that direction. So I may stake it up, but still, nonetheless, good tree. Not too many flowers on it, but that's okay. As long as the tree's alive and is growing, we always have time to plant. We always have time for the apples. This tree was a victim of girdling by voles. I thought for sure it was going to die, but it didn't. I just put that metal wire cloth in 2 years ago. I never had it on any of these trees. Only thing is that the trunk seems to have gotten loose. Like it's real loose, but it's alive. You know, it's got plenty of buds on it. Up the tree. I mean, yeah, you got dead ones on it too, but it's still there. It's still good trees. I was doing some work on them before. Here's another one. Here's another good tree. Probably another 9-footer. So you want something like that with a V. And maybe someone who's watching could help me out. I'm not sure why it's cracked. Someone told me sometimes the trees grow fast and the bark can't keep up. It sounded pretty ridiculous, but I don't know. Another good tree. They look healthy to me. Again, this isn't an apple orchard to sell apples, but this is all for the deer. All for the deer. And my last one here. The trees to my left, I'm not even sure if they're peaches or plums even. My dad planted them, so I'm not even going to talk about those because I don't know what they are. Planted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure what they are. And the tag on it is blank. Here's another one that was girdled but pulled through and made it. No flowers on this one. It's not going to have any fruit. I think I'm only going to have probably out of the, was it what I say, 15 trees? Oh yeah, there was another tree. We had one over here. I pulled it out. That one got girdled and died in the same season. That was another one of my big ones. This one made it. This one pulled through. So, and like a lot of people may say, oh, that's not enough for a deer. Like I was saying before, I don't mind if the deer nip the leaves off this thing. They're going to damage it more with rubbing. So, probably in the next, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years, I'll probably take these black barricades off, and I'll just protect the trunk somehow with some type of plastic PVC or something like that, just to kind of deter the deer from rubbing. These trees definitely need to be pruned. So that's my little apple orchard, and that's the reason why I have it. You know, you can't always depend on one source. And this is one of my oldest apple trees on the property. Last year she didn't make anything for me. I always posted my tree stand right there, and I shot probably, I don't know, 5 deer with my bow, just eating right under the tree. That's one. We had a huge one back in the power lines there. The company came to clean and they cut the tree, and I swear I lost it. Then we have 2 more up here. Let's see. Yep, this one, and then that's another one. They all got flowers. They all look like they're gonna make apples. So the deer are they have their restaurant here, sure enough. Just beyond these is where I have my clover field, which I'll be doing a video on shortly. Not today, but probably next time I come up. And the fields definitely need to be cut. I'm not going to do that because of every year we always bust a turkey nest, or you know, the deer for the first week or so they're going to hold real tight. I think you know, the 3rd or 4th week, they're not really bedding down that you could walk right up to them. You know, they're probably tagging along with the mom. I could be wrong, but I'm more concerned with the turkey and the rabbits than the deer. But if it helps all 3 just to hold off on mowing, it's not a big deal. I mean, the stuff on the floor isn't going to wood yet, so it's not going to be a problem to cut. And that's that. That's that. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And 2017 video season is upon us now. And look forward to sharing some of let me turn the camera around, hang on. You know, let's face the apple trees, fuck it. There you go. So we got a big year this year. I'm extending my clover field to where I had the fall food plots this year. So this clover field in here is going to be 1.25 acres. I have another clover field that's going to be 1/4 acre, and I'm probably going to be putting my fall food plot right alongside the clover, or in the corners. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do, but you'll be around for that. I'm going to try to do a couple little different things. I want to try to put one in the in the timber. You know, there's a little area back down in the power line corridor, and there's another area up in the top part of the property. All you people call them staging plots. I guess I'm planting a staging plot if I can. That I will hunt over. Doe plot, buck plot, kill plot. It's just his ass plot. And that's it. So again, you know, if apple trees is definitely a little cheaper, I think, also than food plotting. You know, you can get a tree on sale. Normally in New York, these trees are going for, I don't know, 30 bucks maybe, 35. Home Depot may sell them for 38, something like that. In my opinion, you're better off getting a 5-footer, 6-footer, and plant that thing. Not that I wouldn't bother with the whips. It's just a little, I think it's a little easier to start off with something like that. It's a little more hardy right off the bat, and you could probably have fruit within a couple of years. So it's nice to see. You know, you plant the tree, you got nice red apples on it. You know, and you don't always have to worry about your food plot being a success or not a success. and that's that. So we'll see you soon.